All right, everybody, welcome to the podcast. My name is Bradshaw, also known as the Monster Truck Canucker. Welcome, everybody, to another episode. Next week, last week, that was an awesome episode with Chandler West. That was an awesome episode. And if you're wondering why that episode is a little bit different, we pre-recorded that episode, everybody. So me and Cheech weren't available last Tuesday. So we just did a pre-recording, and that was our first time trying it. First of all, we'd like to give thanks to our sponsors, people that always support us, that, since day one. Joy Sylvester with High Octane Coffee. Since day one, Joe has provided us with stuff for giveaways, and, would love to support Joe and what he's doing with High Octane Coffee. Jason and Fred from J Concepts, always providing awesome RC content. Bodies, tires, parts, whatever you name it for RCs, they have it. Justin Story with Justin Stories. He has his book Making Tracks. $10 a pop on Amazon. He also has a new one, I believe it's a Christmas one, if I'm not mistaken. That one is some of the funds go to I forget which charity. Sorry, Justin, I don't have the sheet in front of me or whatever. Let's see here. Who else do we got here? We have Backchannel Productions with Nick Davis. Go check out Nick's stuff on YouTube. Provides awesome quality content. Everything from the Renegade Tour to the Outlaw Drags. We also got JB Scalar Graphics. 6B Apparel as well, but JB Scalar Graphics do graphics for Against the Grain. I'm rocking my Against the Grain merch. Bigfoot. Trying to remember. Obsession. Against the Grain, like I said. I'm having a brain fart, guys. My computer froze 20 minutes before the podcast, so I apologize. But 6B Apparel as well. 6B Apparel always making us look good. We're looking into getting some hats eventually. We also have the two crew shirts, the old school design and the retro wave design, our current logo. And then eventually one hopefully coming next year. Let's see who pops up across the screen again. That's the only way I remember all our sponsors and stuff like that. Let's see. I got High Octane, J Concepts, Justin Stories, Back Channel 6B, JB Scale Graphics. And then next week, guys, it is the Power Hour episode, like we teased in the Scott Lidicoat episode. It's going to be Scott Lidicoat and Frank Krimmel interviewing BJ Johnson, everybody. It is going to be a riot. Me and Cheech are just going to sit back for this one. Our hands are off on this one, guys. So it's going to be a riot. And if everybody is ready, we'll get into the show. So we'll play the intro here, and then we will get into our conversation with our guest today, who is Ryan Holman. Everybody, stay tuned.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Bradshaw and Dan Cheechagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome to the episode.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There, is everything working?
Yes, everything's working on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, I have to make sure. I was frustrated with my computer not that long ago. I swear to God, I wanted to throw it off of a bridge. So, how's everything going, you guys?
Oh, everything going good here, man. How about you guys?
Good? Oh, hang in there. Getting ready for the first quarter preparations that's going to happen here in January, and schedule actually will get confirmed soon. But anyway, I mean, yeah, we're doing our thing. We're going to have an open house here in November, and try to go on from there. Brad, if I'm not seeing things here, but was it snowing today for you?
Okay, so the picture that I posted is from where my girlfriend lives. She lives 2.5 hours away from me in a town called Chetwynd in British Columbia. It is snowing. It is okay. I took a screenshot of what the temperature is to share on Facebook with somebody because Chris from 6B was saying it's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit in Vegas today, right? And here I am in Canada. Today it was 37 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 3 degrees here for us in Canada units. It's gonna snow, and I'm not happy about it. I am like, okay. Being Canadian, I'm around snow half the year. I hate it. I'm done with it at 30 years old. I'm done with the damn stuff. But yes, it is snowing in parts of Canada, and I'm not happy.
Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, well, bright side is it's hockey season, so that's always a good thing. You get more hockey now, also with the Kraken, Seattle's there, so that's kind of in your region.
Yeah, they're in our division with the Oilers, so I'm hopeful for my Oilers again. We got Duncan Keith this year from the Blackhawks, so that'll get some veteran, leadership to the team. But let's get on with the podcast here. Normally with the podcast, we like to start off with, a background history of how you got in the sport, Ryan. So, how did you get into the sport? A lot of people know the Holman name is legendary in the monster truck business. So let's get into it.
Me and my uncle started everything. He just started building his truck up. Started in high school actually, from what I'm told. Everybody started calling his truck the Beast in high school. So once he just kept building it bigger and bigger and bigger, then they went to Gravel-Rama one year and they seen Bigfoot. It was on 48s. So Bobby's like, well, I'm going to do that. We're going to put this thing on 48s. Well, then when they came back on 48s, Bigfoot was already on 66s. So then Bobby put 66 on his and had 2.5 tons and all that good stuff under it. And after that, my dad got involved with Bobby, and it just kind of grew from there. So I kind of fell into it.
Right. Like we said prior to the podcast, I think you were one of the first ones, probably the first one to introduce me to a monster truck in person. I mean, as I always went to shows and stuff like that, but never got inside or around it, up close and personal, pretty much. And I do thank you for that. And
oh, heck yeah, man! I remember that plain as day.
Got me somewhere. So
I don't know where you want to be, but you're somewhere.
Yeah, I'm somewhere. But so your uncle's stepfoot. How did that transition, the learning about what your uncle and your cousins done, to point where now, I think you guys are kind of your own separate, kind of like how the Christensens do it, where you have Craig has his own, and then Michael and them have their own gig. You guys are kind of like a little bit of like, the way I'm looking at it is like a little bit of a satellite team. You guys do your own thing, and Bobby and his son does his own thing, but you guys do shows together. How did that come about in the process? So it's pretty much a long story of how you got to where you at today, basically.
Yeah, so I started driving for Bobby. I drove for Bobby for a couple of years because, at the time he was running 4 trucks. So I drove for Bobby for a good while, and then he ended up selling off 2 trucks. So after that, I was always like, man, I want to build my own truck. Well, then that truck came for sale, and then as soon as it came for sale and I got wind of it, Bobby called me. He's like, hey, the truck's for sale. It's for sale. He's like, if you want on it, you better hurry up and jump on it. So that's what I did. As soon as I got the phone call saying it was for sale, we bought it, and as soon as we got it back, we tore that thing down to nothing. So we still hang out, and we're still back and forth. I was over at Bobby's today, and I mean, trucks kind of go back and forth to each shop, so it works out really well. We're really close. I mean, I could hit his shop with a rock for mine.
So let's go back to when you started driving. I like to ask people, their first experience behind the wheel of a monster truck. Growing up, watching, your uncle do it and your family do it. When you got in the seat for the first time, what was that experience like for you?
Like as far as the first time, like crushing cars?
Yeah.
So I remember my first show was at Kalamazoo Speedway. It was for Dave Reich with ATR. Um, I'll tell you what, the nerves were crazy, man. Like all the way up until like it was time to strap in, I was completely fine. And then as soon as it was like time to go, man, as soon as I put the helmet on, it's like all the nerves just hit me at once. And as soon as like the truck fired, like all my nerves like literally just went out the window. And it was like just like natural, but like everyone else says, like if you think you're going fast enough, you're not going fast enough. And I found that out pretty quick after watching videos. And I found like videos are like the best thing for like a learning, you know what I'm saying? To learn from, videos are like, that's what I go off of.
So we'll continue on here with the truck that you drove was the heavy metal. Was that?
Yep.
Yep. So you went ahead and you drove that for a few, and like you said, that truck was sold. So is that what you drive currently? Is the former chassis of that?
Yep, that thing was pretty much wiped out, man. The cage was crushed on it, and all kinds of other stuff was wrong with it. But when we got it, you know, we did the cage and everything on it, so it's a really nice truck. I mean, there's still a couple bars in that thing that are pretty spanked, but it's all right.
So, one other thing that always interests me is, how people come up with names for their trucks. When you bought the chassis and started kind of, say you were saying rebuilding the cage and stuff like that. How did you come up with the name and identity of your truck? Because that's one of the most interesting things for me is to find that kind of stuff out.
So originally, like I don't know if you guys are, I think Cheech is, but I don't know if you are. We got the Maximum Override ride truck too. So I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
Yeah,
so originally we were going to call the truck Maximum Torque, and it was going to have the same body on it and all that stuff, make it look identical. Well, then a buddy of mine owns a big electric company here local, and he's always been into the monster truck stuff too. He's like, man, I want to sponsor you. It's kind of like joked around. I'm like, man, I want to see if he's serious. So like I reached out to him like, hey, you really want to do a sponsorship or something? Like we're building a new truck. And he was like, yeah, dude, like I'm all for it. So that's kind of where the whole amped up thing came from, was all the electrical stuff. And Michael Arnett did the original design for me, so he killed it on that. And then Nick with Motor City Graphics kind of tweaked it a little bit. But that's where the whole name came from. It was honestly not even planned.
So I do have a question. One of my buddies, he does RC racing and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm gonna probably screw up this question here, because was at one point you guys were thinking about a name called Livewire?
I had seen a previous truck that I believe Mike designed as well that was called Livewire, and I wasn't sure how that whole name came about, and I wasn't sure if it was still being used or all that stuff. So that kind of went out the window pretty quick, because you know what I'm saying, I didn't know a whole lot about it. And then Mike's actually who came up with the name. Like he sent me, he's like, let's call it Amped Up. I'm like, Amped Up. At first I was like, that kind of sounds goofy, and like a whole day went by and I was like, dude, that sounds great. That's like perfect. So then Mike's actually the one who should be getting the credit for the name. He's the one that came up with it.
See, I'm trying to think if Cheech wanted to ask that question just because he's drinking a Mountain Dew Livewire.
Oh, shoot. No. That was off. Oh, my gosh. No, that was not planned. Even though that is my favorite Mountain Dew drink. No, because one of my buddies, he runs the Amped Up truck as a spec class for LMT. If you ever seen Wayne Schaefer's RC version, the LMT version of Ryan's truck, Amped Up, he had another truck with it in the pro mod called Livewire, and I thought that was, and he kind of mentioned about the story about that, and I thought that was it. But shout outs to Mike. I'm good friends with him too. We do the Trigger King events. He has made so many cool designs, from Wrecking Machine to Skull Crusher to Amped Up. I mean, he's on the hunt, and it's pretty cool to see what he's been doing. So shout out to Mike. What's going on? But Ryan, the thing is too, your brother also is your teammate truck to the heavy metal truck. Was that a ground up build too, or how did that side of the team come about?
It's actually also one of Bobby's trucks. It was originally Bobby's beast truck, and he kind of like just shoved it outside one day. I was like, man, we're gonna make a cool yard ornament out thing, like jokingly, and then I don't know, that thing probably sat outside for like 6 months or something like that because he got his new Patrick chassis at the time. And then I would say probably 6 to 8 months. And then one day, me and Josh were like, when we were working on my truck one day, and I'm like, man, we got to pull that thing inside and see what we can do with it. So we just kind of like started messing with the chassis, working on it, and changing a bunch of stuff. And Bobby's like realized we were like serious about it, and he's like, we're gonna put that thing back together. So that's kind of how that one popped back into the picture. So it was kind of expected too.
Just before I ask my next question, I also look up to Mike Arndt. He is one heck of a designer. His stuff is top notch. You know, I look up to the dude for inspiration and stuff now. But one question I want to ask. So when you got the trucks and started working on them, what changes did you do to the trucks? Is there anything that, you know, when you were driving it previously that you thought maybe I can, you know, maybe tweak this a little bit different? And then when you got the truck, did you try to, you know, go ahead with those, or what did you do to the truck once you got it?
Honestly, man, like everything on that truck, there's very few parts that are still the same. Like the drive shaft loops, like the U-joint covers came off the old truck. The shock barrels are about the only thing left on the shocks that were used. So, I mean, everything else pretty much just got trashed, and it was pretty much starting over because everything was junk at that point. So everything's changed. It's like a complete different animal now. I mean, it's night and day difference.
So if anyone wants is putting 2 plus 2 together here, Ryan's truck was the old chuckboard truck back in the 4-wheel drive Jamboree days. Then during the Monster X / Traxxas Monster X Tour, it was the heavy metal. I think that was a sponsorship truck, wasn't it? The heavy metal truck.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then,
local paint supply company that we deal with a lot.
and then later on, he got his hands on it, and now it's amped up. I tell you what, dude, that truck is still. A lot of people talk how good looking that truck is. You know,
I
it has the
appreciate
new
it,
style
man.
Chevy body. Did you ever consider maybe throwing the old school body, or was that kind of you always wanted the new look?
So it was going to have an old square body on, and we actually have the square body still just sitting around. We're going to put that on originally, like I said, and then the whole electric stuff came about, and pretty much all of Andrew's trucks are all newer Chevy trucks. So he was like, well, I want it to be a Chevy body, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, we got to buy a newer body. So we bought another body off Trey Myers, and he really hooked us up on those as well. So shout out to Trey for hooking me up, man. He really did me good on those things.
Man, it seems like everybody goes to Trey for bodies and paint and stuff now these days. So, you know, when you got your truck, how was it, you know, going out with the first show with it, you know, new identity, you've done all these changes to it. How was that first show back for you?
I drove a couple times between here and there. I drove, Cody's truck a handful of times, drove Bobby's once or twice. But then when I came back on my own truck, it was like, man, I don't have to worry about somebody jumping me for breaking their stuff, Not saying that Bobby's always on us or nothing like that, but it's still always in the back of your mind. You don't want to tear this guy's stuff up, you know what I mean? So I knew I had free range to do whatever I wanted now, so I just kind of run that thing as much as I want and do what I want with it. But the first show back, we only had a couple bugs, thankfully, that we ever had to work out, I think. So it was exciting, man. It really was.
So let's fast forward to last year or the start of the 2020 season. You and your brother Josh got to go to Europe and represent, the Holman family over there overseas for the Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live Tour. How was that experience like? And also, how's the experience working for the Hot Wheels, doing shows for the Hot Wheels group? And I'll ask the next question after that, but go ahead with that one.
Actually, I didn't get to go overseas. Josh was the only one that ended up going. So I didn't really get to experiment. I felt like I was there because it was like every day he was sending us what he was doing the whole time. So it was pretty cool. We did a lot of neat stuff over there. So hopefully one day we get to experience that. That'd be neat.
But the second question, now talking about working for the Hot Wheels tour, because you just did the Louisville, Kentucky show, having I think V8 Bomber as your body for that event. So how was it working for them, and how did you enjoy the Louisville show?
It was a good time, man. Their shows are all pretty laid back. I like hanging out with all those guys. It's a pretty straightforward show. There's a lot of stuff you got to get used to, though. That's for sure. How they run and operate things. It's completely different than anything I'm used to doing. So it's going to take a little time to get used to. So we got some time though. I think once you get the hang of it, it'll be a really fun time hanging out with those guys.
Well, from what I see on those shows, there's no ramps. They're just iron walling cars and van stacks. So, that's a little bit different for racing. And what's it like to be around the Bigfoot team, those guys, and just the camaraderie that you guys have on a tour like that? That's one thing that also interests me in the sport is teams or people sticking together. Like how's the atmosphere with all you guys there?
Oh man, it's great. I mean, Bigfoot's Bigfoot. That's what I've always said. I don't care where we're at or what I'm doing. Like, I know we got a job to do, but it's like, as soon as I line up against a Bigfoot truck, it's like, I got to beat this truck. I don't care who's driving it. It's just like always been like a thing for me. So me and Darren ran a couple of times this summer together too. So I was always trying to beat him, but 9 times out of 10, you never beat Darren. So, but I always try. But those guys, Rebecca, she's always willing to help out. Darren's always willing to help out. So same way with us, man. If they ever need anything, they know they can always ask.
And let's go back and talk about that maximum override truck, because I always thought that truck looked really, really good. And the story, I guess, refreshing my memory, it was your dad's, and then it went a couple places and came back to his hands. Still the same truck.
Yeah,
It wasn't
so
never. Did it have a racing history on it?
no, he originally started building the truck to be a race truck, and then he got sick and had to have a kidney transplant and all kinds of stuff. Had a bunch of health problems. So once he was finally back on his feet, that truck was pretty much outdated because the sport moved so fast back then. So he ended up building a ride truck out of it, and I believe he started that truck in '93, and I think the time he got it going, it was maybe '94, '95 ish when he got it all complete. So I could be a little off on those dates, but I want to say he said it was like 24 or 25 years old this year or something like that, maybe a little older. But he built it originally. He had then sold it off to Dave Reif. Dave had it for a little while, and I believe Dave sold it to Stanley Torgeson. And then Torgeson had it for a while, and then I believe it went from Torgeson to Paul Schaefer. And then it went from Paul Schaefer over to Canada to the guy that had it over there for, I don't know, quite a few years. And then we ended up getting it back off of him in Canada.
So, I just had my question and I just lost it. Great. Cheech, ask a question so I can remember my question.
All right. Good job, Brad. Anyway, so you got the kind of the kinks of your new truck in going around and stuff like that, and how's the fans reacting to it?
Surprisingly, everybody's always been pretty positive. I haven't really heard a negative thing, which maybe they're saying negative things away from me, but everybody always, it don't matter where we go, it seems like that truck's always, a crowd favorite. Not to like brag or nothing, but I think it's just like the lightning bolts, and everybody I believe thinks it's like Blue Thunder because everybody's like, "Oh, I have that toy," and I'm like, no, you don't." But I think that's part of it. I mean, the kids just like the bright colors and stuff, so I think that's a lot to do with it.
Okay, I remember my question. So earlier you mentioned that when you were building the truck, you were going to try to kind of have it similar to the ride truck. Are you still wanting to do that at some point and make use of that square body mold you guys have, or is it just going to continue to be amped up right now?
I think it'll probably be amped up for at least another year or so, maybe. Kind of depends on what Andrew wants to do, if he wants to stay on board with this. But as soon as he's done messing with the monster truck stuff, which hopefully he never is, but if he does, that thing's coming back. And we got another body we're working on too, so I think that one's going to be really cool. So it's another name we used to run, so I could bring that one back next summer or something. That's
pretty cool. And also, it's, you can't, one person, Chris Kilbarg, Barger, Kilberger, Kilbarg, whatever. He congratulates, the Hall brothers and Bobby for the on the Hall of Fame. I mean, from your standpoint, I mean, how cool is that having Bobby inducted in the Hall of Fame for this year?
It's really cool, man. I mean, he's been nominated so many times over the last couple years, and it's always kind of been like a joke between all of us, like, oh, he's been nominated 20 years now, maybe he'll get in. But it's awesome to actually finally see him get in. I know he was excited for it, despite all the joking and stuff that we did. And my dad's like one of his biggest supporters behind the whole thing because my dad's always giving everybody crap about it, like Bobby should be in, Bobby should be in. So, that brotherly love's kind of cool to see him do that stuff, man, and knowing everybody's kind of got each other's back.
So we got a
Same way with the Halls, man. Those guys need to be in there too.
I do agree. The Halls and people that have been there since the early days should be in there, and it's good to see the Holmans and the Hall brothers going in there. So one question here is from Mark Peterson, a fellow that's been on our podcast before at the Reptoid truck. What size engine do you have in your truck?
Oh god, it's just a 540.
Must be an
Is
inside
there a
joke
story
there
behind
somewhere.
this? Inside joke.
Yeah, me and him give each other a hard time all the time. We ran pretty hard against each other this summer. A couple. What did we do? I think we did one show with Mark. It was actually the first time I met him, and he actually introduced me to the best product I've ever found to clean my truck, and that was Simple Green. I've never realized people use that stuff to clean their trucks, and he gave me, it was like, you about to wash your tires? I was like, yeah. He's like, hold on, I got something for you. So he gave me that Simple Green, and like ever since then, man, me and him just hit it off, and I love him and his wife. They're both awesome people.
Awesome, yeah. And we had him
funny.
at, we was at our county fair show, and he's always a big supporter of the Hall of Fame. So we'll probably see him there this year. But also, Dominic Holcutt was asking, do you know any stories of Bobby driving the barefoot truck?
Not a lot offhand. I mean, I've heard him talk about it quite a bit, but I don't really know much about it. I mean, we still got the old metal doors and stuff hanging up in the shop where it says Bobby Holman and his wife's name, and it says barefoot on the doors. So he's still got all that stuff, so it's kind of cool to check out.
So you mentioned earlier, about racing Darren and Bigfoot, and then you also Mark with Reptoid. Who else do you like to run with? Who else do you kind of like to race against and do freestyle? And like, who do you like to go up against?
Man, I like to run with everybody. That's not like I really have like a favorite or anything. It's just like, I don't know, Bigfoot's Bigfoot. You know what I mean? The name's just huge, so it's like, I don't know, it's just cool to run against them, period. But I don't know. I like running against all the family. The family rivalries always been pretty cool to me. Nobody wants to lose in the family, so nobody lifts.
Yeah. Cheech just got to just step away for a moment. Oh. You're good, Cheech? What the heck
Maybe
was
not.
that? So, you mentioned with the family rivalry and stuff like that, does that kind of, when you line up against your brother or another member of your family, does that, you kind of get that same feeling you do when you're like, I have to beat Bigfoot? Like, do you get that same feeling?
Yeah, it's pretty similar feeling. I mean, I don't know, man. I think it's just more or less cool to me that you're lining up against such a big name, you know what I'm saying? But it's pretty much nobody in our family wants to lose, so it's always a little more pressure on me. Anyone else I'd lose to all day and all week long, but I don't lose to my brother or my uncle or my cousin. I really wish my dad was still driving because I have to lay a smack down on him too.
Oh my goodness. So, with the current, day in monster trucks, with all the, two-wheel skills and stuff like that, what's your thoughts on all that, with the stoppies, the moonwalks? What's your thoughts on all that?
I think it's neat, man. I really do. I mean, I've tried to do a couple of stoppies. I've got it up, but I haven't been able to really walk it or nothing like that. But I don't try it a whole lot either. Probably count on one hand how many times I've tried it. But I think it's cool, man. It's moved the sport in a different direction and stuff like that. Stuff them guys do with these trucks nowadays are just insane to me.
So another cool thing that people may not know is you guys um, uh, bring back some trailers. You do some trailer work and stuff like that. Um, I saw a couple of them. You guys had up for sale and stuff, but you find it looks like some of these trailers are in some bad shape, but then you guys fix them up and get them going and make them look like $1,000,000.
Yeah, I seem to find a lot of trailers for some reason. I like trailers. It's like everywhere we go. Like last week, I ran into, Kevin Cazal does the Hot Wheels. I was like, oh, that trailer. He's like, no, I'm not selling my trailer right now. And then I think I kind of got him on the hook, so maybe I'll be able to buy that one too.
I can just imagine going down the road. Some people look at old classic cars in the field. You're just hunting for trailers, just like, where's the next one? Where's the next one?
That's how it is too, man. I don't know, something about trailers. I think they're cool.
So
like bringing
what?
stuff back that looks like crap.
So you just like restore them to like when they were newer? Like what do you do to the trailers when you get them?
Like if we're gonna keep one and stuff, we'll clean it up. If there's any rust or repairs that need done, fix those things up, and we reskin all of our trailers and make them flat sides instead of showing all the rivets and stuff like that. So we got a couple other ones that we're working on now, but for the most part, is buy them, clean them up, and sell them. A couple guys that need them or something are always looking for new trailers. Like Dalton with Stomper just bought one. Burnhouse has bought one off me. Oh, there's a handful of guys at the bottom.
Is there a particular trailer that you like to go after, like a double drop, a single drop, a triple drop? Even if it's not even a monster truck related, is there a certain type of trailer that catches your eye?
I really want a triple drop, but those things are like impossible to find, and if you do find them, they're really expensive. But I don't know. Hopefully one day, that's what I want to have personally. I mean, we've always had double drops, and 90% of the ones that I've bought are all double drops. The one Vern bought off me was a triple, but it was only a 48-foot, so they're going to be kind of packed to get 2 trucks in that thing. But Vern did some work to it, and he throws 2 trucks in his trailer now, and it works out pretty good for him.
And then you guys, so do you when you sell them, or have you had anyone request saying if you find this trailer and then they come about and saying this is what I would like to do with like the ramps and stuff like that, or do you yourself go okay, you just redo the trailer, and have you done any inside work putting ramps and stuff like that on the trailer, or is it just basically here's a trailer and the customer buys it that way?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we'll just fix the cosmetic stuff on about 90% of them. I ain't done a whole lot. I mean, I've had quite a few of them, but I just want to make them roadworthy for the most part before we sell them off. That's the big thing. I've never really put a whole lot of ramps in trailers. It's just so much time, and everything's through the roof right now as far as material, so the bills would be hefty nowadays.
Yeah, so I mean that's pretty cool that you find the stuff in light. So the trailer that you guys have right now, you found it, refurbished it, and was it once a monster truck trailer or was it something else beforehand?
It was an old Frito-Lay trailer.
Okay, seems like a very popular trailer.
It's an old double drop, man.
Gotcha.
I think we lost Brad, didn't we?
Yeah, Brad had to be right back. Now, who's the promoters that you normally run with? Do you do a lot of first quarter stuff, or is it mostly spring and summer?
I mean, with this being like my first actual year with the truck, it's been mostly summer stuff. Which even in the past, we did a bunch of, when I drove for Bobby, we did first quarter stuff with Monster X, and then would go outdoors and stuff for like Dave Reif in Michigan. But now it's pretty much summer, and then if we can stay running with Hot Wheels, we'll have some indoor stuff too. Ran a lot this summer with the other Dave Reif with MTRL. My phone's going crazy. Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Now I thought it was a pretty cool segment. A few months ago, you were able to help debut the Mega Rex for the Hot Wheels tour. A lot of the pictures of the truck being debuted, and we know that the Samson Rick Steffens is driving and stuff like that. But how did that come about? And yeah, you got the opportunity to debut a brand new body.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Like the Tiger Shark body, all the V8 Bomber bodies, the Bone Shaker body, the Mega Rex body now. All those were done in-house at my shop. Me and my brother pretty
Okay.
much knocked all those things out. So they're all painted in-house. It's a lot of people don't realize that all those things are paint. I mean, there's some stickers, tossed on there, of course, but a lot of it's paint. So it's
How many
been really cool
hours?
working with this. Oh my gosh, man, it's a ton. Like the Mega Rex took quite a bit of time. I say the Tiger Shark probably took the longest because at first like it was so complicated, but now that we've done a couple of them, it's like we've changed up a lot of stuff. Before we kind of just like sprayed the graphics on and it kind of looked hazy and stuff like that. But now we've changed it up, and everything's kind of got sharp lines and everything's taped up real nice. So we like that a lot better, and I think they do too. So I think that's how we're going to continue to do those things.
So when you guys came out with the Mega Rex body and you did the painting and stuff like that, how did you guys get the paint right from a 1/64th scale toy to a 1/1 monster truck body? Did you have to do a lot of not experimenting, but a lot of studying about the that little the details of that truck? Did Hot Wheels help out on what type of color? Uh, was there a lot of trial and error? How did that process happen?
Yeah, as far as the other bodies, like I said, like the Mega Rex, or not the Mega Rex, but like the Tiger Shark and V8 Bomber, all those were pretty straightforward, and we kind of like here's the colors, and Hot Wheels approved it, and a couple other guys that worked for Hot Wheels were all involved in that as well. But it was pretty straightforward. But the Mega Rex, it took some time, man. I bet we had, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks and just getting colors accepted. So we went back and forth on that a lot, but at the end of the day, they got to be happy with what they're wanting to, present. So it just took a long time, but I think it worked out for the better. Like I said, Nick up there at Motor City Wraps, he sent a bunch of vinyl back and forth to Hot Wheels, and we kind of matched vinyl. Oh, it's just a big, long process, but it worked out in the end.
That's pretty cool that you learned that from here, folks. Uh, you guys are the body hub of the Hot Wheels
Yeah.
Monster Truck Alive. It's still pretty cool that that going on, and then also outside that, you have your amped up heavy metal, and I guess you do Bobby stuff too.
Yeah, I've painted quite a few of Bobby's bodies now. Like I said, he's had a handful of them that are painted, but for the most part, still does wraps. That's why I said I paint all these bodies, and I went with a wrap. It's just so much easier, tear them
But
bodies.
one
It's
thing,
easier to stick sticker on there.
one thing I wanted to know, which I mean, it kind of threw on a little bit of the wayside, I thought, and because of the COVID and stuff like that, the Beast, the 35th anniversary body, the old school square body truck, uh, that was pretty epic. I loved it. Um, how did that come to works, and what did you have to do to make that process happen?
So that started out as another body from Trey Myers, and Bobby originally had like this idea of let's bring back the old body and let's paint it gold. And I don't remember exactly who it was, him, Cody, me, I don't know. It was one of us. Somebody said something about let's make it look all old and stuff. Like we just drug it out of the weeds. So we ended up doing that. So it was just kind of Bobby just wanted to bring it back. And what's really cool, and only a handful of people know it, but the original Beast color was like called ochre. So that's like exactly the same color, as close as we could get it to that color. And then the original metal flake that he had in that paint, we still had the can of it at the shop. So all that original flaking from the first truck is in that body.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that stuff's really old. So it's cool though.
We were talking about the Beast body for the 35th anniversary truck.
Okay.
We were talking about that.
So I have a question, and hopefully my memory serves me correct on this. So you guys remember the Prelude to the Dream, right? The NASCAR would do the late. Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. Do you know anything about how that happened? Because that was such a cool thing to see DW in a tied monster truck. Like, that was so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was there for it, and we were pretty young at that point, but I don't exactly know how it came about. I just know Bobby got a phone call and they explained what they wanted to do, and the rap guy at the time got a hold of Bobby or whatever, and they went back and forth, with the guys that were doing all that Prelude stuff, and just kind of went back and forth. I guess, is it every year that he drives something different?
Yeah, it was like for every Prelude or whatever, he would do something different. So one year I think he got into a 2-seater late model with Tony Stewart, and then another year he did something different.
Yeah, so I guess it just happened. Bobby just happened to get the call. I'm not exactly sure how it all played out, but it was really cool. He's a super nice guy too. I do remember that, and I met a lot of really cool guys at the time. Like I said, I was pretty young back then, but
there's a YouTube guy. I just got your message there, Brad. You said be right back. He went to North Carolina. He moved his shop over there in North Carolina, and
Kyle Stapleton, right? Stapleton.
Yeah,
AutoWorks.
Stapleton AutoWorks. They just found DW's old transporter he owned it and sold it to the previous NASCAR owner that owned not Richard Childress, but Bud Moore, that Dale Earnhardt drove for, and then he sold it back to DW, and they went through the Western Auto truck and they found memorabilia, newspaper articles, toys, merchandise from his career from like 1981. They found a trophy from like 1960 something.
Yeah.
But they found stuff from like 1981 all the way to like his last days racing in 2000. And it was it was a trailer and stuff like that. And it was pretty epic to watch. If anyone has a chance on YouTube, watch that, because they just also found Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s travel bus, Dale Earnhardt's trailer. Some guy got his old stock car back in 1994, and they're gonna run at the Brickyard. Another guy found a Chevy Lumina NASCAR and is running around the Rockingham Motor Speedway. He's having a lot of historical stuff, and it got me thinking. Thanks to him, I'm doing that in the monster truck world. I started videotaping. The Hall brothers just picked up their very first monster truck trailer that held both the Heavy Metal and Big Boss, and also found a tire shop that was across the street from the dealership that we just did a car crash. Was pretty much the go-to area in Indiana for people to buy their monster truck tires, rims, and stuff like that. And I thought it was a little pretty cool deal to maybe do like a history thing. So I did some filming and stuff like that, and I have some ideas. But if anyone wants some feedback, just give me a holler. If you guys like that idea, I'm gonna make a YouTube channel about it and just do some history stuff. So I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah,
well, and also
that was not a question, Ryan.
I'm just gonna put it in there. Even with the DW trailer, like that was just the hauler. There was another trailer that held the car that's there that they're thinking about finding too. Which that was such a cool thing to see. And Cheech, that'd be awesome if you did stuff like that, because it uncovers more about the history we don't know, like how they would fit a tank and a truck in the hauler together. Like in my mind, it's like, okay, I'd put the tank on a flatbed, not in a trailer.
It was a flatbed. That's what they did in the back in the day. There was a flatbed. They put the tank. They put the monster truck in there. It's weird. They found an old box truck, and they put that on the very, very top of the tag where you put the semi in. They put a box. Then inside that box, they put 2 tires, Big Boss, and then they extended the trailer a little bit more to fit the tank in there. So it's weird. Mark explained about it, and he'll talk about it. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. And then, I heard there's a monster truck called Enforcer, which was Mr. Twister 2, up near between Indiana and Illinois. The Boss Hog is a museum. Just different stories and different things in general, and just stuff like that. Which also, off the topic here, I want to let everyone know that I am doing a live podcast feed Friday night at the Hall of Fame in November. So it's gonna be basically like at the Daytona 500 or stuff like that, where you get between like 5 or 10 minutes. Just stop by, give a holler out. Hopefully Bad makes it.
Hopefully.
See how it goes. But right now, also I have Austin Spence from the Throttle Out Show that'll be tagging along too. So we'll go from there. But some storytelling, stuff like that. Big hangout. Pretty much you're gonna start around 6:00 and whenever 10, whatever. So we'll all hang out and stuff like that. So, sorry about that, Ryan.
You're fine. I like listening, man. I like listening.
But it's pretty cool that the history that you and your family have in the monster truck world. From you still have some history with your dad's ride truck still around and still kicking, and then Bobby make it to the Hall of Fame and stuff like that. Was the ride truck that your dad has, how much is that 100% original? Is that 100% original truck?
Let's see. I would say it is probably, I don't know, somewhere, 70, 80% original. When we got it back, everything that he had on it was pretty much still on the truck. The only thing that we could tell was a huge difference was there wasn't electric windows in it no more. There's crank windows in it now. So but it's still the original door. So I'm not sure if they just quit working or what had happened. But that was one of the main things he did remember. What's really weird is he had this old school rear steer toggle switch. And something about it, I literally think I still have it here at the house somewhere because I hung on to it because I thought it was cool. He was like, "That's my original switch. That's my original switch." That switch is held up all these years. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, a lot of it's still original. I mean, we've changed a lot on it now, kind of update it a little bit and make it a little bit better. But yeah, a lot of it's still the old thing.
One question I have, and I know a lot of teams have ride trucks and stuff like that, and that must be a really good profitable thing for you guys as well. Besides running the trucks, that thing probably brings in quite a bit of money. And does that help you guys at all, or does it with trying to pay for gas? How does the ride truck business help you guys?
So I mean, when it's my truck and my dad's truck and the trailer together, which is pretty much how 90% of our summer was this year. So it's kind of cool as far as we just split all the expenses right down the middle. He pays for half of fuel, or if we stop and eat or something, he'll pay for food. I'll pay for food. So it's kind of 50-50. So he's done really well this year. And I mean, like I said, I don't know, heck, probably last 3 years, it's kind of been hit or miss for him. This is the best year he's had with that thing. So it's been really good. Can't complain, that's for sure.
Right on, right on. Is there any social media people can follow you at?
My personal?
Or any type of, social media. It's up to you if you want to let that use out.
Yeah, I mean, I got Facebook under my name, and then my Instagram, I believe, is under my name as well. I think. I don't even remember. I don't post there a whole lot.
And also, where can fans come and see you upcoming, if you have any shows upcoming?
As far as our summer, it's pretty much over. He's still got a few ride truck gigs left. Rest of my stuff's pretty much with Hot Wheels now, I believe, until next year. So I'm really hoping we could squeeze in some stuff with the Renegade Tour. I really enjoyed running with Zane in this year. So that was really fun doing the show for those guys, and I'm sure we'll do some more for MTRL and stuff too. So they're always pretty laid back shows as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We did a few shows with Zane and them, and it's fun. It has that main vibe of what monster trucks are like. You know what I mean? Good atmosphere. Legendary names, high flying, car crushing action. But outside of that, Brad, is there any social media that people can follow you at also?
Yeah, they can follow me at the Monster Truck Canucker. You can find me on Facebook at Bradley Shaw. I'm ramping up my graphic design stuff again, doing some more stuff for the Renegade Tour. They have a show upcoming in their hometown area. I believe it is in... I just had the name of the place, but it's around the Lancaster kind of area, so it's one of their hometown shows, so go check that out. I'm also doing some NHRA designs, doing some Top Fuel Dragster designs. If you check out my Instagram, you'll see a Hot Wheels one that kind of Cheech suggested after I did a Rockstar Energy one, so trying to get my name out there in a different realm, different sport. So, yeah, go follow that as well, and, appreciate all the love. And what about you, Cheech? What have you? I wonder if you've come up with something new for us this time about what people could follow you on.
Dan Cheech Agosh on Facebook, Instagram, Dan Cheech Agosh, Snapchat, Dan Agosh 10, and also follow me and Phildo. We have a podcast out. Well, it's a stream cast on Twitter. Go check that out. This week's episode, once again. Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to talk about VCRs and DVDs. So we'll go from there, and then just can't wait until next week. I tell you that much. But anyway, that's pretty much it for me. Nothing really special. All my pigeons died. The wire got cut between 2 cans of soup. The airmail just can't deploy since COVID's going on. No messengers, no pay and pal, no pen pals and stuff like that. It's just terrible right now. So right now, my cargo ship's on lockdown over there in California. I can't get no mail from you guys. So, yeah, it's like that.
It's unfortunate. It's a shame. Nope. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. The only thing that's really good right now, it's Canada is closed, so Brad cannot enter this country. So that's the only thing good.
No, it's not. Brad. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Maybe next year.
Is that true? You can't come over here?
Yeah, okay. Okay, Cheech, you open up the can of worms. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, Americans who are fully vaccinated can drive across the Canadian border. Us as Canadians who are fully vaccinated or whatever cannot drive across the American border. We can fly, but we can't drive, which is ridiculous.
When did that come into effect?
Officially, I think it was beginning of August, around there, like middle of August. So, because me and my girlfriend were going to do a road trip from here in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada, all the way to North Carolina because she had a wedding to go to. That kind of got screwed up. So, and Chris, I see your comment. Mikey Waters came over, but Mikey's also a American citizen, so that's different. He's married to a Canadian woman, but he's also an American citizen, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I wonder
So
the same thing because the Comos just did a show in Pennsylvania this past weekend.
I think you can get some exemptions, but like
Work related or something.
yeah, work related or whatever. But for leisurely travel, we can't do anything. So
I was about to say, I think Como's had a work visa.
yeah. So
Uh,
it's kind of backwards in how it's working. The reason why is because the U.S. won't open up with Mexico, so they have to do both at the same time. That's the only reason why it's kind of messed up. So I'm hoping for next year that everything can go back to semi-normal, so I can come to the States and get some monster truck action. Because I've said it plenty of times on the podcast, and I'll keep saying it. Monster trucks in Canada, we get kind of shafted for shows. Like we only get, especially here where I live, we get Elliot with Throwdown, and that's about it. And that's an amazing show. Don't get me wrong, I love that show, but Monster Jam hasn't done Calgary in a while or Edmonton. They are coming to Vancouver next year, but that's the only really show that I've seen so far. So I'm hoping things change. So there's my gripe about Canada and monster trucks.
You're welcome. Anyway, yeah, I'll start a YouTube channel and that stuff. So we'll go from there. But outside of that, once again, thank you to all our sponsors: High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics, Justin Story, 6B Apparel, Back Channel Productions, and I think that's about it. And also for thank you again for all the support. And also next week is going to be the first episode of the new Power Hour with Scott Litico and Frank Krimmel interviewing BJ Johnson. So that's going to be some crazy stuff, funny stuff. Me and Brad are going to drop back, and whatever goes, goes. So
and also, viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah,
we will have to put that out there as well.
So the branch off from the Throttle Out group, this could be opening a lot of can of worms on a couple of people. So outside of that, we're going to let it go. It's going to be a good time and go from there. But outside of that, November 20th, Hall Brothers Open House, RC stuff going on. Got the ramps, everything like that getting happen. $10 a person, $5 after that. Mark Peterson's going to be there. A couple other people are going to be there also. So come out, take a look. Racing starts at 9. So those drivers, please, the doors open at 7 for racing. But the open house kind of starts around 9. Ends whenever. So more people want to come by and take a look, they're more than welcome to. But pretty much we're going to probably end like around 4 or 5, 6 o'clock. So Saturday. So it's, fun time. So guys, I'm done here.
One more quick thing. Thank you guys for the likes and subscriptions on YouTube, guys. That helps us out. Also, the 5-star reviews on iTunes and whatever Spotify does. That helps us out, guys, with the algorithms and allowing us to reach out to different countries and other people. So, guys, keep it up. We love the support. Thank you guys very much. And as we always have said since day number 1 on the podcast, everybody, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.